blonde hair be like cool.
Because it's like people who are black but also can be white passing. Yes, they have a certain privilege, but at the end of the day, they're still black people. You know, because like black people come in all shades, even if you're not mixed. We come in all shades, colors, all of that. So it's just like if you don't accept somebody's who they are identity because of the way they look, even though they know their background, like, what are you doing? You know?
So, do you think the fact that you are of biracial identity has negatively impacted your life?
Alright, so technically I'm not biracial. I'm multicultural because Latino and Latina, like Hispanic is an ethnicity.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I really didn't understand that until like this year. But I think it like it's positive and negative. Like it has like both connotations. Just because like I always have to like fight for everyone to believe that I'm black. Like I'm always like, I promise my mom is black, and they're like, no, she's not. And I'm like, do you want to see a picture? And I'll show them a picture. They're like, that's not your mom. And I'm like, I always have to like defend my black side, which is like frustrating, especially because like that's the side I grew up with. Like that's the side I grew up identifying as. So I'm like, you're telling me that I'm not part of a culture, and that's the only culture I know.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, WTF. And then like even on the Puerto Rican side, like my Puerto Rican family, they are like lighter shade Puerto Ricans, but there are a lot of Puerto Ricans who look like they're black because they are like they're darker skin. So it's like both of my cultures technically, you know, could come from darker skin, black obviously. And it's like, I don't know, it's always like people just don't want to believe it, and I'm like, I shouldn't like, my culture isn't a debate. Like it shouldn't be a tit for tat. It's a you either accept it or we're no longer having a conversation because it's not up to you to decide what I am, kind of thing. So like it's only negative in that aspect because like I feel like I always have to fight for it, which I shouldn't have to. It's either take what I said or just leave it alone. But they never do that, so.
I get what you're saying with that. Like I learned in my race, religion, and ethnicity class last year that the identity of a person is made up of parts where it's like what you view yourself as, what you learned as yourself, and then what people view you as, and then the mix of the two of those things. So it's like if you know you're black, but then people are like, no, you're not, and then those two things come together, it can clash with who you are, and sometimes that can create an internal struggle. Mm-hmm. And I know that like during those middle school years, you're just like, why?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cause like even in like high school, I did like keratin treatments, which are like they're good for your hair, but they like destroy your curl pattern.
Yeah.
So it's like a perm for like mixed texture hair, and I did that because I was like, I don't want curls. Like I want my hair to be straight. I want to be like everybody else. And like after I finally like cut it all off, I was like, wow. Like I don't know, it's just like a realization. Like when you go like natural, it's like I don't know, like you learn to love yourself a little bit more and like embrace everything. And so like in the conversations, like girls talk about their hair, and like they're always, it's like if it's people that I don't really know that well, people that don't know like me that well, they're always surprised that I know what's going on. I'm like, grew up around it, y'all boys. I go through it. I do the same thing y'all do. Like, so.
I think now that I'm thinking about it, one of the things that I had always gone through growing up is you're pretty for a black girl. So it's just like, you know, I'm pretty, period.
Exactly.
Because I know I'm cute. And I'm one of those people who like, when guys talk to me, they're like, wow, you're conceited. I'm not conceited. I just grew up with a lot of self-confidence. But it's also part of it is just, you know, knowing that beauty comes in all shades. Mm-hmm. And because I don't come from a Black American background, I come from a Caribbean background, there is a lot of colorism within our community, because you know they do these things called bleaching. You know, I don't understand why they want to do that. That's just melanoma waiting to happen. But it's just like you come to realize that people harm themselves trying to become something that they're not, and I just rather be who I am and accept that. So
yeah, because like people that are like lighter, they're always like you see the girls on Instagram or something that have been like tanning and all the makeup and stuff to make themselves appear black. So like I know people do that, and I'm like, yeah, growing up I've always been like, I wish I was darker. Like I wish I was visibly black. Like I wish it wasn't a a struggle to like fight to prove it.
Mhm.
But I was like, I'm never gonna go to an extreme to like change what I look like, because obviously I look like this for a reason. Like it happened for a reason.
Exactly.
Because I could have gotten my mother's complexion, but I didn't. Like I believe in God, so I feel like there was a reason. Whether or not I know it, well, right now I don't know it. Whether or not I come to know it, it's up to Him. But I wasn't her color for some reason I don't know. But like, do you ever get like when I go around like my granddad's side of the family, who they're all like darker,
Mhm.
and like my grandma, like they're all lighter. Just like she's just like a lighter skinned African American. So all her kids are like they're darker than her, but they're lighter. They're still like lighter. So every time we go around them, it's always like, oh, y'all too bougie, y'all too this, y'all too that, y'all can't hang with us. And it's like
Yeah, that does happen.
we do the
it's-
same thing.
It's the reverse, because I'm the darkest of my dad's children, so it's always like they get treated nicer than I do, because they're the bougier ones, because they're all light skinned. My dad is also light skinned. He has really pretty eyes. So whenever I show people my dad, they're like, that possibly can't be your dad, even though I have the same exact face as him. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So
And I feel like a lot of like, I feel like we all, like, not that we always talk about it, but it's like in the media you always see like, oh, light skin girls this, light skin girl that, they're so pretty, blah blah. And like finally like we've seen like darker skinned girls be like accepted and praised for their beauty, because it's about time. And it's like we always hear about, I'm not saying that this is to take away the struggles, I just don't want it to come out like that, but like we always hear like, yeah, the darker skinned girls go through X, Y, and Z, which they do, like they've gone through it for years. But like everyone that identifies as black in the black community, we never really hear about like the lighter skinned black girls who like aren't accepted, who like are like shunned, or like, oh no, you're not really black kind of thing. And I'm not saying we have to talk about it, but I'm saying like people don't understand that being black isn't just about being dark. It's not just about being brown skin. It's about like it's like a melting pot of everything. It's like a rainbow, because there's black girls who are very pale and have blonde hair, but they're still black, whether or not they're African American or Afro-Caribbean or whatever. They're still black, so identify as that. And it's like they aren't accepted for it, which is ridiculous, but to each his own.
I feel like part of the reason why people don't listen to that narrative is because in the mainstream, in like music videos and movies, it seems like darker skinned women aren't getting the recognition that they deserve. So it's like we're going to continue to ostracize the other group of our people, which doesn't make sense, because once we come together, all of us can be at the top. It doesn't have to be just one. And I really think like if you want to think like in a bigger scale, like people like Remy Ma and Nicki Minaj, people will come at Remy Ma because she's darker than Nicki Minaj, but at the end of the day, they're both doing their thing and they're both great rappers. So it's just like, if you can find a medium and still be on the same accord, like why do we have to talk about the way that they look? So.
And like growing up, like did you see yourself like portrayed in the media, or did you feel like you did?
No, I didn't, and that's why for a really long time I loved performing, because it's like I'm that one little dark skinned girl and I'm killing it. I'm the best one on that stage. I know I am. Period. So it's just like I for a really long time pushed myself. I love to perform. I love to be in front of people doing what I like love best. But it's just like, you know, I have to make sure that I'm the best, because I know that I stick out like a sore thumb. So I have to make sure that I look good, because I'm not portrayed well as other people might be. I might not get the lead role, but at least, you know, I saw that one dark skinned girl and she was doing her thing, and that's that. So
you're gonna give yourself like, when people remember you, you want to remember you doing well.
yeah.
I feel that. Like I went to predominantly black schools growing up, and so it was always like darker skinned kids, or like obviously like visibly black kids. So I was like, oh, that white girl over there, and I was always like, I'm not white. My mama told me I'm not white, and I was like, all right, and like it was it was like the opposite. So like I was always a sore thumb kind of thing, which was like, I was like, when I was younger, I didn't realize it, because I was like, oh, like this is what my family looks like, this is what my school looked like. I looked just like it. In my eyes, I didn't understand, like, I was different. So I was like, cool, we chilling. And then it wasn't until, like, really, like, 5th, 6th, 7th grade that it started to, like, sink in that everybody didn't look at me like I was the same. And I was like, ooh, I'm different. So it's like a journey to, like, love yourself and, like, be okay with being different.
I also think that during that age range is when people are most critical of themselves. So when we become critical of ourselves, we become critical of other people because we're trying to not focus on ourselves as much. That's when, I feel like that's when bullying and all that stuff becomes most prevalent because you're not happy with what's in the inside. So what comes out is also what is inside. So I feel like those kids who were probably making you feel different felt like they were different. So that's probably part of the reason why you got that kind of energy from other people. Because outside of your school and outside of your environment, when they go to other spaces, they're not welcome.
Yeah.
Well, to close off, do you think that the journey to self-love is like something that you guys will face in like different ways, or do you think that it's like the same?
Like based on our skin color?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I feel like I've always been self-aware, which is really weird to say. Like as a kid, like I understood that I was the dark one in the room, but I also understood that nobody can tell me about my character except for me. And so I've just kept that within me throughout the years, and that's probably why I'm so like strong-headed and like more of like a leader, because my parents always told me be a leader, not a follower. So whenever people had an opinion about me and I knew it wasn't true, I really didn't listen to it. So I feel like it's something that I've always had within me, and I'm continuing to love and learn about myself. There's just certain things that it may not be within my skin color, but there's certain things about myself that I'm still learning to love. So
I think for me it's like a lot of the same thing. Like it wasn't just necessarily that I was aware when I was younger, but my mom always was like, yeah, like do what you want, do like whatever you do it to the best of your ability, don't follow other people, you know, be independent, yada yada yada. But she was a single mom, so like I grew up very independent. And when in terms of like complexion, I feel like my journey is different because like I am privileged in the sense that people of my skin color have been portrayed in the media as I grew up. So like I saw that, even though I didn't identify with them because it's always been like white girls. I at least like they were there, which is really frustrating. But I don't know, like I have to learn how to love myself as a lighter skinned person in the Black community, and like know that it's like a rainbow, and stop like being like I wish I was darker, or like I wish they accepted me. So like I have to take on the mindset like if they don't accept me, that's their problem. Like I'm a fantastic person, and if you don't get to know me, that's on you.